It seemed like back in the day you had to be on the top rung of the ladder to have any influence. Not so anymore. Influence is the currency of leadership, and it can come from any direction. Peer-to-peer, parent to family, subordinate to supervisor. The good news is you can increase your influence. We're going to assess 5 areas to determine our current standing and then go to work on increasing our influence in those areas. That's what we're going to talk about. Let's get into it. Welcome to Leadership on the Run. I want you to consider these 5 concentric circles from your life. You can see from the diagram that we start in the center with self, and we move outward through these 5 circles of influence. It's important that we start in the center with self. Most of us want to jump to the organization or team level, but let me tell you why it's important to start in the center. We need a strong core. If we can get the self and family circles right, we'll be better leaders for our teams, our organizations, even into our communities. Without that strong core, we can implode from the pressures that come from those outside circles. And in the end, those first 2 circles are the most important ones you have. It might seem selfish to start there in the center, but it's not. It's the best thing you can do for yourself and your family. And the benefits will spill over into those other areas of your life. Think of the airlines when they make their safety speech. First, put on your oxygen mask, then help those around you. So we're going to put on our oxygen masks first. Well, how do we do that? We need to be intentional. If I asked you what word is the opposite of intentional, what would you say? Almost everyone says unintentional, and they would be right, except for the purposes of our little leadership conversation here. The word is accidental. It's our default. It's what happens when we take the path of least resistance. It's what happens when we take our foot off the gas and we drift back to our accidental behaviors. It's what happens when we hope things will turn out right. And by now, we all know that hope is not a strategy. We need to move away from our accidental behaviors and toward intentionality. And when we do, our influence goes up. Some of the tools we've talked about in previous episodes can come in handy here. The first one is the Know Yourself to Lead Yourself tool from episode 4. That's where we identify some of our default tendencies and we recognize those patterns that we fall into. And instead we trade up to a better response, a better action. When we do, our influence goes up. Another tool we talked about was the support challenge matrix from episode 5. Remember that no one is naturally good at both support and challenge. And so we want to determine which of those we need to work on and get intentional about improving in that area. And that intentionality will boost your influence. So here's your 100 challenge for this week. And what I want you to do is color code each of the circles from the 5 circles of influence based on the support challenge matrix. For example, for the self circle, are you red for dominating, yellow for protecting, maybe green for liberating? And then what about the family circle? It might be gray for abdicating. You might be yellow for protecting, and so on. Do that for each of the 5 circles. The goal is to be green, to be liberating, in each of those 5 circles. We all know people who act differently based on the context or the environment that they're in. But we might even be those people. So I need to bring up the word consistency here. Again, the goal is that we would be green, that we would be liberators in each of the 5 circles of influence. We want to be the same person at home as at the office, as at the kids' ball game. And when we are, our influence is on fire. Your X challenge for this week is to share this tool with someone else. Show them where you are with the color coding around those 5 circles of influence. Maybe share some of the inconsistencies that you're working on, and then lead them to assess where they are and hold each other accountable to getting green and becoming liberators in each of those 5 circles of influence. I'd love to see your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. For those of you who have come along for the run, a little context on how we got here. Back in 1983, some people that I worked with wanted to run the Detroit Free Press Marathon. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So I laced up whatever shoes I had in the closet, embarked on an 8-week training plan, and broke 3:30. Now, it was a pretty reckless plan when I look back on it. An 8-week training plan. And I know it was 8 weeks because I still have the dot matrix printout. I'm gonna have to Google that. I'm sure I only survived because of my age, my young age at the time. After that, I ran off and on for the next year. I got injured training for the 1984 Detroit Marathon and moved on to other interests. Fast forward, I thought a 36-year break was sufficient. So I started back during COVID when everybody was cooped up. Couch to 5K. I can remember being wrecked by day 1 of that plan. Toward the end of 2021, I started going through some of my old stuff and I found my racing bib from the 83 Detroit Marathon. And I thought, man, it'd be cool to go back and run it 40 years later. And I did in 2023. 3:33:59. The next fall, I ran Chicago Marathon. 3:33:59. Who does that? Who runs the same exact time for 2 different marathons? I mean, who runs the exact same time for the same marathon? Then this past spring, I got to experience the Boston Marathon, which was fantastic. And I broke 3:30. My 3:33:59 streak had ended. Now I'm training to try and break 3:20 in Biloxi this December. I thought after I ran Boston, I could back off and just have fun running. The truth is, the fun is in the constant improvement and the constant challenge. And of course, the running community is a huge benefit as well. So what's your story? Love to see that in the comments below. Or maybe you're just here for the leadership stuff. That's cool too. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you next time. In the meantime, keep moving. And remember, no one gets better by accident. Great leaders are intentional.